Am I visible? Friends, very sorry for being late. Very sorry for being late. Am I visible? Here, my net is very poor. Very poor. Desktop net is very poor. That's why I'm on handset. Am I audible and visible? Friends? No comment. Yes. Konkona, I am visible and audible. It is my poor handset. Desktop net is very poor, very poor. BSNL Wi-Fi net is very poor. Yes, let me start today. Let me start today. I'll read out Mahakal's words from a follower's diary. A part of the Mahakal diary was published in my volume 3 of Netaji Subhash Chandra Kichu Bitorka and Tortho, and that part was recorded on 18th November 1966, and this part was compiled by Surojit Dasgupta from collection of late Sunil Krishna Gupta after the submission of the JMCI report to Government of India. And these are the few records which are one of the many which convinced Justice Mukherjee to say that Bhagwanji, Mahakal, Gumnai Baba and Netaji is same man. Bhagwanji is Netaji Subhash Chandra, and his statement was, I am 100% convinced that he is Netaji Subhash Chandra. And this part in Bengali was translated to English by Dr. Shankar Chatterjee. I'll read a small part of it. This part is on Vietnam War. Vietnam, the fire began. During the last war, Thieu took the opportunity of the Indo-China War and motivated them to overthrow the French power. Ho Chi Minh was motivated and was heated enough to prepare the national force. Fighting the French, a European power, was no joke for a small power from Indochina. Fighting the French, a European power, was no joke for a small power from Indochina. The fighting went on. Japan had fought in Southeast Asia. France was ousted with the Japanese help. Japan wanted to be overlord. Bring them on camera. Am I not in the camera? Fighting began with the Japanese. Japan could not win the fight. No sooner than the Japanese withdrew, France came back to recapture its old colony. America gave full backing to France. An assurance was given to the effect that if things went wrong, as France tried to recapture Indochina, atomic bombs would also be used as it was in the case of Hiroshima. After relentless fighting for over a year, France tasted a massive defeat at Dien Bien Phu in May 1954. On 17th May, England and Russia decided to sit for a conference. America decided to take China on board and roped in Indochina to come to an agreement. The conference went on for 2 months in Geneva. On the 20th July, an agreement was reached at Geneva Conference. The agreement was signed by Indochina, Russia and Great Britain. America maintained its observer status. The whole of Indochina was divided into Laos, Cambodia, Vietnam, which in turn was divided into 2 parts, North and South Vietnam. It was decided that within 20th July, France would withdraw its force into South Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh would pull back into North. By 1956, elections would be held and the North and South Vietnam would reunite. Yes, Lokesh, please listen to. My desktop is not working. I do not know in my handset where you are listening, you can listen to me or not. In the meantime, Ho Chi Minh would not infiltrate any personnel or arms into Vietnam, not even a gun. Towards the end of 1954, SEATO was formed. SEATO, Southeast Asia Treaty Organization, formed. Mr. Dien used to stay in America. He was made the president of South Vietnam. South Vietnam signed into SEATO. It's a military unit, military organization under controlled by USA in Southeast Asia. Mr. Dien did not sign the Vienna Convention. He also defied the election referendum. The blame was placed on Ho Chi Minh, who was accused of amassing troops. Ho Chi Minh maintained that the increase in troops strength in North Vietnam was natural outcome of withdrawing all forces from the South Vietnam. In the South, the Buddhists rose up against Diem for his high-handedness. America started pouring in troops. Diem asked for help. Audio video are fine. Okay, thank you. Conclusion. So that England and Russia could not dislodge France, America understood they wanted to secure their own interest in Indochina. It took China on board as an Asian power. They took China on board as an Asian power. The Western powers wanted to retain Asia as its field of plunder. Now the stage has transformed. Laos and Cambodia are in China's grip. China and Russia will back Ho Chi Minh. The equations changed. A clash broke out between Russia and China. China, India, Russia and America started pressurizing Britain. Before Chinese diplomacy, Jawaharlal was an unborn fetus. Before Chinese diplomacy, Jawaharlal was an unborn fetus. Mr. Mirzafar plus Joychand is equal to Jawaharlal. Mirzafar and Joychand. Mirzafar plus Joychand is equal to Jawaharlal. It is a question of protecting its own life for India. China was preventing supplies from reaching Vietnam that Russia was trying to send, because they would have to send it through China. Think of the complicated situation in that region of Asia being narrated by MAHAKAL. Let's just see. India was made the chairman. India was made the chairman of the International Control Commission. Ho Chi Minh said that India was hand in gloves with them. China supported Ho Chi Minh. Ho Chi Minh did not give any space to ICC, that is International Control Commission. America realized that if it withdrew at this stage, Russia and China would pounce on Vietnam. America realized that if it withdrew its forces at this stage, Russia and China would pounce on Vietnam. China was not helping out with men. It would capture the vacant area later. China wanted a clash between America and Russia. China wanted a clash between America and Russia. India should have moved away from the scene. That is India, desired that the flames there be doused. India was denouncing America in Vietnam, and at the same time it was approaching the Americans with a begging bowl 24 times. Why don't they approach the Russian and find out if they provide them with tons of wheat and rice? People in South Vietnam got fed up with Diem's high-handedness and created a resistance force at their own. Ho Chi Minh started sending them assistance, and this resistance force came to be known as Viet Cong. America has pinpoint information of all Chinese installations. A few thousand defense personnel from Vietnam were receiving training in Russia. China, some other scene in the world, MAHAKAL is telling. China, Cuba, America secretly conveyed to Russia that this is the nub of the problem. We are restraining ourselves as much as possible. You observe restraint too. We have such and such things. See if you can resist these. This is during this talk on Cuban crisis between USSR and USA. On that issue, it is MAHAKAL statement. Whatever happening in Rhodesia is creation of UK. Ian Smith, then the Rhodesian Prime Minister, is not at fault. He was, after all, a RAF pilot. Maya dynasty, Maya Danab, that is the Central America. On it, MAHAKAL is telling something. The natives of North America are basically South Indians. The Mayans and the Incas of South America have escaped to an inaccessible region. There has been a mass slaughter of red Indians in North America. The natives of North Polar region are all Indians. Their dialect is similar to ours. They use Indian phrases while speaking English. Nobody here opens the door. Someone doing something, you. These are the dialects they use. Another thing on Gypsies, Mahakal statement. All Gypsies in Europe are pure Indian Rajputs. The entire Southeast Asia up to China uses toka, that is a conical cap worn by Bengali farmers, made from leaves of plants. Ramo the ninth, at that time Ramo IX was the king of Thailand. Now it is Ramo X. Yes, Ramo the ninth, name of the king of Thailand. The name of the present queen is Sri Kirti. His face is round, just like a dusty complexioned Bengali mother. It is a proven truth that, barring Africa, the whole world is Bharatvarsho. Aryans, worshippers of Shobita or of the sun. Now Mahakal is coming back to the Vietnam issue, and that diary is of 24th January 1973. That is, the disciples has gone there on the eve of the Mahakal's birthday. They have stayed there. On 24th January, they are recording the statement of Mahakal. That is 73. Again, the English translation I am reading. The proceedings began at the stage mutually agreed upon. Everybody came on the stage. They won, or on one side. Okay. Now he has narrated. Mahakal has narrated. I think I have read 1 page, 2 page, 3 page. Now Mahakal is narrating a conference, very sacred conference on four sides. 4 sides means 4 sides, day 1, day 2, day 3, and the 4th side is I am describing. The proceeding began on the stage, mutually agreed upon. Everybody came on the stage. Stage day 1 is USA side, USA group, USA general, top generals, a group of USA top generals in this sacred conference. Day 1. Another is day 2, means top Russian generals. Other is day 3, top Chinese generals. And other side is 4th is a pride of 9 generals with a shadow behind them. And the 4th side is pride of 9 generals on Vietnam side with a shadow behind them. That is the 4th side. This sacred meeting, the 4 sides are taking part. One is top Russian generals, one side, top Chinese generals group, and USA generals 1. The three groups. Other side is top 9 generals on Vietnam side plus a shadow behind them, a shadow behind them. Now think of this shadow. And I am not reading this part, this discussion. This discussion, should I read it? What Mahakal has told, but it is very complicated to understand. The drop scene Roj, the drop scene Roj. On one side, day 1, day 2, day 3. Other side, a pride of 9 generals with a shadow behind them. Day 1, speaking, day 1. Gentlemen and generals, we have congregated here to discuss and exchange some of our inner thoughts, ideals, purposes and policies. Most humbly, I want to say that our purpose is noble. It is no use fighting. It is no use fighting. It is to determine, it is to the detriment of all. Is it not possible to find out via media which can be to the satisfaction of all and help us reach a pragmatic solution? Discussion started. Day 2. Let out the meaningful grant. Day 3 smiled, a broad smile extending from one jaw to the other, with tight lips. A pride of 9 generals moved in their seats. The shadow standing behind them took a baton from them and threw it on the table with full force. Day 1, day 3, and the pride of 9 generals gasped. Shadow said, "To hell with this pragmatism. Have not you fought more than 60 battles? How many of them you have won? You are so young, yet